Oh, hi. So even though it's not Wednesday, I've decided to do a review today anyway. See, yesterday while on the trip to Lancaster, I looked down at the floor of the car and saw this little magazine just kind of sitting there on the floor. It's called Real Simple, Life Made Easier, and it caught my interest because it was a magazine sitting on the floor of a car. So I looked through it and realized why it was sitting on the floor of the car. I think the easiest way to look at this magazine is to actually look through it now and just show why this magazine deserves to be on the floor of a car. Let's start, shall we? Okay, so you turn the page and the first thing you see is an ad. Now to be fair, this isn't overly unusual. I mean, you know, start with an ad, that's fine, whatever. So let's see, turn the page and it's another 2-page ad. Okay, well, interesting choice, but I'm sure they'll get to the point eventually. I'm sure the magazine will start soon enough. Oh, see, here's something. It's a thoughts with a picture and a quote from a book. Okay, but still, I'm sure eventually it will. There's called The Simple List, which isn't really simple because it's not organized particularly well. There's another ad. Okay. Oh, another 2-pager. That's nice and useful. Okay, moving on. See, look, here we go. Table of contents. 11 pages in. Okay, listen. People who make this magazine, the table of contents is kind of important. I feel like I shouldn't have to tell you this, but, you know, it's what helps you navigate the whole magazine is the table of contents. So why is it after 10 pages of ads? And actually technically it's 11 pages because one of them is the inside cover. Yeah, I know, technically not all of the 11 pages were ads, but let's go ahead and be honest. Most people would just skip over that section anyway. Both of those little tiny things that basically were just ads in and of themselves. So I still count them as ads. And that's not even the worst part. Okay, so we have the table of contents, turn the page, next thing you see, oh, another 2-page ad. Okay. Okay, great. Wonderful. Yay. And then you turn the page, and what do you see? Look! The table of contents continued. Really? You couldn't even put the 2 pages of table of contents together? What, did they have a fight? You had to separate them with an ad? As you go through this magazine, you will catch the trend. It's a bunch of small, tiny little articles with a lot of ads. And sometimes it even goes a step farther from this and actually has the ad encroach on the article. So it's basically surrounding it without completely surrounding it, but it's on either side. As if to say, no, we don't have enough ads in here. We don't need all this space for an article, though. We might as well put some ads there, too. And one of the worst things about this is that sometimes you can't tell what's an ad and what's an article because they look so much alike. So I'm looking at this and saying, wait, what's the ad and what's the article? I mean, okay, it has this little thing up here that signifies that probably it's actually the article, but it's really kind of hard to tell the difference, isn't it? So you go through this, and it's basically the same thing, so I'm not going to show you the whole magazine, because quite frankly, that would just get boring, because it's the same thing. And then there's this wonderful part right here, where we have not just a 2-page ad, but a 4-page ad, because it has to explain all the wonderful things about this particular drug, and if that's not bad enough, look, here's another ad before we actually get to the article, and this isn't even the article, this is just the beginning of the article. Followed by another ad. So you'll find that this really just goes on for a while, and nothing new happens until finally we get to the features. Now, one thing I will say about the features is that once you get to the features, there aren't any ads. For the entire features section, you don't have to look at ads. You can just read through the stories and you don't have to be interrupted. And while that's nice, there's a few problems still with this. Not necessarily with the whole no ads being in it, but with the fact that the features start on page 101. That means we have to go through 100 pages of mostly ads, and a few little tiny articles just kind of inserted in so that they can say, no, there's more than just ads in here. Also, it's features, right? So you would think it'd be kind of important, because it's the featured articles. We are more than halfway through this magazine, and they're just now getting to the features. I'm not sure, but I think their priorities are a little skewed. Now, I do have to let it known before I move on, I didn't actually read any of the articles in this magazine. For all I know, these articles are wonderful, they're brilliant, they're thought-provoking, but quite frankly, considering what I had to go through just to get to them, I don't care. So you get through the features, and yeah, as I said, there's no ads except for the usual card that says, hey, you can renew this, you can renew your subscription, and you get a free gift, because that's the only way anyone would ever renew this subscription. I will say the section after the features, which is food, does a fairly good job of actually putting the pictures of the food in and giving you the recipes without interrupting it with any ads. But once that particular section of the food is done, it goes back to the tired and true method of little tiny articles and a bunch of ads, until finally you get to the end, where you have this little thing that probably pertains to the rest of the magazine, and probably isn't an ad, but it might as well be, and you put it down wondering, why did I just read this? Real simple. I'm gonna keep this real simple. Why? Why do you have so many ads in here and so little else? Now look, I understand that advertising is important. I understand that you need advertising so that you can get money to continue making the magazine. And I don't know, maybe your subscriptions are going down, maybe people aren't buying it, but putting more ads in are not going to make people buy this. And I don't know, maybe the other issues are better, maybe they're not this bad, but if this is an indication to go on, I don't want this magazine. Look, maybe you got a good magazine going on here. Maybe you have good stories, maybe they're interesting, maybe they're thought-provoking, maybe they're helpful. But if you have so many ads in there that you can't get to the articles because you're so bogged down, that's where you run into problems. So if you're losing revenue because people aren't buying your magazine, putting in more ads is only going to make the problem worse. And that's really all I have to say about this. So I will go ahead and see you all tomorrow, actually. See you then.